Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forever Sports. And with Rassie Erasmus's latest squad announcement, there are always going to be players who are lucky to be involved and players who are very unlucky not to be involved. And it's a very interesting squad, given the fact that there are 22 now uncapped players with the late addition of Carlu Sadi. But there's always going to be debate when it comes to Springbok squads about players who are maybe fortunate to be there or have big opportunities to be there, as well as players who I think are very unlucky not to be there. And I think at the moment, if you're not part of this kind of squad, considering that there are no players from Europe, apart from Carlu Sadi, for example, no players from the Bulls who are in the URC final, then it's a bit late for you, to be honest, when it comes to your World Cup chances, because it just means you're not in the radar, anywhere near really the radar of going to the World Cup right now. I think if you're not part of this wider squad, I think your chances are pretty slim unless you have an unbelievable season next season and there are a string of injuries and you kind of come out from the outside and come in. And it is possible. It is possible. Kane Moody, for example, hadn't made his debut for the World Cup, at this time, ahead of the World Cup itself. Made his debut in that August the year before, had that phenomenal run, and went to the World Cup. So it can be done. That's not to say that there's absolutely no chance, but it's very unlikely. And I think for some of the players who have been called up, it really is now or never for some of them, and some of them I think have lots to prove with regards to their fitness, their form, and their adaptability and suitability for the Springboks itself. So we're going to go through that. Before we do, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. At the moment, we are really pushing to try and grow our YouTube membership over there. Link in the description. There are so many different things we are working on to give to our members. Premium access to new platforms we are developing, as well as access to our WhatsApp community where some of the exclusive and latest groundbreaking news will be shared first, and some behind the scenes content as well. So please do consider becoming a member down in the comments below. Let's have a look at basically 5 players, 3 winners of inverted commas and 3 losers from the latest box squad. I'm going to start with this man, Evan Roos. Now, he has been included in the squad, but not a player who has really managed to light the international scene up. He is once again had a very strong URC season, is the top try scorer, was top of the group stages, and won that award when it came to the URC awards. But this is a player who has consistently not translated his club form or franchise form into international form. Evan Roos has been a URC player of the year, but he's not been a player that I think Rassie Erasmus trusts. And Rassie always kept saying, just it doesn't mean that we don't back him, for example, he's not involved. But the reality is he has had a lot of opportunities here and there to try and get into a box squad. And we've looked at a lot of other options before we really looked at Evan Roos, to the point where Kobus Visa started a match in the number 8 jersey where Evan Roos could have gotten that opportunity, because they keep looking for the right sort of profile. Now, he's got once again opportunity to show what he's all about. And this is about the 3rd or 4th time he's been called up. Every time he gets called up, he just doesn't quite manage to have that breakout game, really. And this is an opportunity for him to do that. So he's a big winner in that regard. He's got the chance. He's still on the radar. The question is, will he finally be able to lay down the gauntlet? Will he finally be able to really impress the box squad management, so that when they cut squads down, he's in the plans, and he keeps himself in the potential plans for the World Cup next year. Moving on to our first loser, inverted commas, of the squad, and that's this man. You go back 2 years ago, really, and it kind of felt as if he was destined for the green and gold when he was literally almost single-handedly bringing the Sharks through results. He helped them win the Challenge Cup. He was on scintillating form. He was just playing so well. His goal kicking was on point. He had really good game management, and it felt like the Wolves could potentially be at his oyster. He was leapfrogged by Jordan Hendricks, as well as then Sash Famigoma Zulu. He now finds himself not in the squad, and he's been to training camps, he's been part of squads, at a time where you've got 2 junior Springbok fly halves in the squad, at a time where Sash Famigoma Zulu is looking at a long-term injury, and there is no Andre Pollard in the squad. So whilst Moin Liebach is the recognized flower half, you felt that this was a time, if he has been playing it to the sort of extent he was a few years ago, where he'd get the opportunity, where he'd potentially start a game for the SAA or the likes of that, and get his chance to sort of show what he's about. And the fact that he hasn't been included, I think, is a big sign about the form or the lack thereof that he's sort of shown, and really kind of sort of fell off a cliff. And it's frustrating because I think we all really hoped he would kick on. He was a late bloomer, had to come through the club system. It was a fairy tale story. But I think, unfortunately, the coach have kind of decided that that's his level, that's his threshold, and haven't brought him up. Now, a big opportunity for me, this thing is for this man over here. There is no Villiers in the squad. There is Damian Willemse. Obviously, Apelefasi is still around the block. But Quine Horn, I think, for me, has had another phenomenal season. His reliability, if nothing else. I mean, it's the second time he's received the Iron Man Award for the most minutes in the URC. This is a player who's just 24 years old, and he received it about 2 years ago. I think when he was about 21. He's been brilliant. Absolutely brilliant for the Lions. And he really does offer the box something a bit different. You know, he has got a very good left boot. He's not necessarily got the step of a Damian Willemse, for example, or the height or the physicality, but he's deceptively fast. He sees space very, very well. And he's got a really sort of knack of being able to bring players in and counterattack whilst being very reliable from a defensive point of view. You know, I think that'll be the big question we'll have to answer. Can he be that last-minute defender as they're breaking, which Damian Willemse has shown he can be, and where Apelefasi really had to work on, where Villiers, for example, sometimes even still struggles. But I think he's a player at 24 years old that's ready for the next level. And I think he's ready to be given that opportunity to show that. He's obviously only played one game for the Boks, where he did score a try, in fairness, but also got a yellow card. But I really hope he gets an opportunity, because I think that he is a genuine option at 15, and I think he can compete with Rassie and Willemse for that spot. Another player who I think, speaking of horns, is this man over here. And the reason it's a bit of he is a big loser in this squad is the fact that if you look at the last couple of years, Siva Mahashe now in the squad, Bata Takani in the squad, Ruan Fenter has debuted for the Springboks, Renzo du Plessis has been involved in the squad. You know, I think JC Pretorius has been close to in and around this. Franco Horn's been in alignment camps, but he just can't seem to get the next nod. And I understand, you know, I think he's as a player who doesn't quite fit the mold of the Bok. He's not a big physical brute of a loose forward. He's far more in the Warren Whiteley mold of very good skill set, likes to operate in the trams, very quick off the mark, scores lots of tries. He's been Mr. Reliable for the Lions for many years. Good leader as well. And I'm really excited to see what he can do against the All Blacks, because maybe that's the kind of game he needs. Like a Kwaka Smith against the All Blacks for the Barbarians, where suddenly everybody went, oh, hang on, this guy can do a job in the 15s game. But I feel for him, because I think he's just been, you kind of think there's not much more he can really show from a URC point of view, because he continues to be one of the strongest players for the Lions. But he needs to sort of start showing the grunt, the physicality that he can mix up with the big boys. I think there's many international squads around the world I think he would make. He just happens to not really fit the profile. So it's a big disappointment for him. And I really just hope that eventually he gets to an opportunity and he can take it. And then one big winner, and very keen to see how this goes, is this man, Lekanya. Lots of worry about whether he can get back to the level he was, which, as far as I was concerned, was one of the top 5 best players in the world at this stage. Such was the form, you know, if we go back quite a few years ago. Then has the knee injury. Doesn't quite seem to have that extra yard of pace. Doesn't quite seem to be able to find the form that he had when I think he was one of the best players in the world. But he is back in the mix. And this, I think, will be an opportunity for him to just either show yay or nay with regards to whether he can still contribute to the Boks, whether he is still a genuine option at 30. Jesse Creel's got that number 13 jersey on lockdown. You've got your Jorenda Julius being called up. You've got a Henk van Wyk coming in. You know, you've got other options you could potentially go in at 30. Ethan Hooker is somebody they're very much looking at 13. Caden Moody is obviously somebody they see at 13. But this is a man who at his best is one of the best players in the world. But can he get back to that kind of peak? And that's the question he's going to have to try and answer during this time with the Boks. So those are my 5 players I picked out. What would yours be? Let me know down in the comments below. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steve, and I'll chat to you soon.